The USM Valor was a destroyer-class ship with a population of 67, with those being 23 crew members, 2 prisoners of unknown origin, 3 maintenance workers, Commander Cardigan, who had been chosen to command the Purge operation in the Aegis cluster, and 38 soldiers who had been armed to the teeth. In this video, we'll be delving deeper into the lore to answer the question of how did one Necromorph take down an entire ship that had been prepped for war? As soon as the government had been made aware of the Concordians Extraction Corporation's blunder into the restricted area, they would commission the USM Valor and assign Commander Cardigan the Purge operation to exterminate all personnel and any other hostile life in the location of the Ishimura, upon which Cardigan would make his voyage to the Aegis cluster with 67 souls on board the military destroyer. On their way, however, they would continuously contact the Aegis cluster border control, who had notified the Earth government of this betrayal. The man aboard the Valor would instruct one of the spacemen aboard the observatory to kill his colleagues, in which he reluctantly does just that. When the Valor attempts to pick the man up from the station, he would end his own life, unable to live with his deeds of the day. He enters the airlock without a spacesuit and activates the depressurization switch and blasts himself into the cold vacuum of space, just as the Valor passes the border control. The men aboard the destroyer-class ship had gone into the station and had wiped all records of their discoveries, and they had taken the deceased to the morgue, a costly mistake. After this, like a breadcrumb trail in space, they had found Hammond's handiwork with an escape pod floating in space, to which they pulled it into the storage bay. After some inspections, they had concluded that someone was inside. However, what they hadn't have known was it was the remains of someone inside. The dormant Necromorph had been lying inside of the escape pod. As soon as they had opened the capsule, they would have been met with an ungodly stench and a horror to see. At this time, the ship had found the distress beacon attached to the asteroid, and so they begin open transmissions towards the Ishimura, following the trail towards Aegis 7. This had brought the ship closer to the marker's carrier wave, which awakens the Necromorph. Judging by the excessive amount of blood found all over the pod and near to it, a battle must have ensued here. The slasher would have pounced on the maintenance workers, killing them in quick succession. This is where it would have left the area through a vent before the soldiers could have arrived, bringing the souls on board down to 64. As the ship gets closer to the Ishimura, the men would start to succumb to its effects, dulling their senses. But more importantly, the carrier wave would reanimate the 6 deceased men, turning them into more Necromorphs, with 2 becoming infectors. Together, the Necromorphs would break into the containment rooms and turn the prisoners, bringing the souls to 62, and the Necromorph horde up to 8. However, it is when the Necromorphs ambush the soldiers that are scattered all over the ship that things take a drastic turn for the worst, with the infectors recombinating the soldiers that held stasis units built into their rig suits, which had merged with the infection, reversing the effects, turning these new variants of slashers into lightning-fast Necromorphs known only as Twitchers. The soldiers would raise the alarm at this point. However, this wasn't to be an invasion or an infestation of the ship. At this point, it was to be a victory. The tricky thing when dealing with an undead horde is that with every death, another will join the horde, replacing the fallen. Let's not forget that the Earth government hadn't told the soldiers what they would be in for, otherwise they may have just disbanded altogether. In the constant firefights, the crew become distracted from the controls and direction the ship is headed in, due to the gunfire and screams of soldiers battling this horrific type of infection. More and more types of different necromorphs, coming with their own separate abilities and weaknesses, would form out, making the toll fall to 30 personnel. As soon as the ship comes into view of Isaac and Kendra, the bridge becomes swarmed with necromorphs, bringing the soul count down to just 5 men. When the pair sees a terrified Commander Cardigan reaching for his chair, when a lone slasher, perhaps the one that had started it all, kills the commander and the transmission fades out. The souls goes down to just 4 men now, as the ship collides with the ore storage deck. Machinery, including a laser surgical unit, becomes damaged, slicing through a soldier. Gravity plating malfunctions, sending the metal plating and a man into the ceiling where he is bound, unable to move due to the crushing effect of the gravity well. Another soldier in the chaos of the collision manages to escape the necromorphs after having his leg severed from the knee, leaving him to bleed out. This would leave only one sole survivor, to which his fate is unknown, but it is possible that he dies by yet another necromorph, or, more horrifically, is burned alive when Isaac pulls the shock point drive out of the engines, causing the chain reaction to occur. This video is designed to give you an idea of how the Valor could fall to such a small infection, how one necromorph had become many, as the descent had not been logged, and we are left to our own speculation and imagination of how the Valor had fallen from grace. But if you look at the environment of the ship, it is quite clear to see how it began. The maintenance workers would have been the ones to open the escape pods with the soldiers near to them, but perhaps in the next room, thinking that it's not a big issue. The blood indicates that the necromorph kills the 3 men, then either gets killed by the soldiers or retreats into a nearby vent. The fallen become reanimated by the signal, the birth of the Twitchers happen, the full alert occurs, the ship becomes locked on a collision course with the USG Ishimura, and then finally, impact occurs. Hopefully this clears up any confusion of how one necromorph had accomplished all of this, and brings you more clarity about the overall situation in the first Dead Space game. Thank you for watching. If you enjoyed, then hit the video up with a like rating. Comment your thoughts below and I look forward to hearing from you. Sign up to join the British Alliance today by hitting the subscribe button and ringing in the notification bell to receive all updates to the channel. A big thank you to all of my channel members for your extra mile support. I really appreciate it, and I hope you are all enjoying the extra benefits. And if you would like to become a member and gain access to tons of rewards, then hit that join button today and see which of the tiers takes your fancy. And I will see all of you among the cosmos, and be sure to have a good one.